Hi guys, this is Breaker and I'm back with another replay that I took from the cassette section of Reddit. And in the lower right hand corner spawning is our red Protoss I give you all. Dosenfett belonging to Erupt clan. It looks like I've got music turned off. This must be my laddering setup. Or is it? No, I got the right setup. It's just my music was off. Okay, there we go. And in the upper left hand corner, hailing from a team that I imagine is French-Canadian, that's what QC typically stands for, Quebec. His name is qcZeRiaX. I sincerely hope that this guy has met Rats Deezer once or twice on the North American ladder and just totally handed him his ass. But no one can really be certain. One can only hope. So, since of course we do have a bit of fill-in time, it's looking maybe something along the lines of 2 to 3 minutes, given the fact that we're going to have what is essentially more than likely going to be a Gateway Expo going down for our Protoss. I guess we can do a little bit short fluff talk, or blog mode if you will. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name is Breaker Rush, now Yo Flash Wolves Breaker. I just recently joined a pro team. It's official, it's announced, it's all of that beautiful great stuff. I belong to the same team as former Azubu-san, the only Korean member that is now a permanent member of a Taiwanese team, so that's just all great and dandy. Isn't that just lovely, guys? But of course I only get the same privileges that most other amateur casters get, which is essentially just, you know, free computer hardware peripherals, and let's not talk about career stuff, because that's really not for me to disclose. But I'm looking forward to going back to Taiwan in January. Excuse me, in December. That's when the semester ends. December 20th here in Korea. And speaking of Korea, I am totally ashamed of myself because I have not been to a GSTL and OSL. I haven't seen Pro League. I haven't seen a single GSL since I got here. I haven't been to WCS Korea yet either. It's such a sin, really, because I'm in Korea and I've never actually done this before. Anywho. Whoa. At first I thought, okay, our Zerg is going 3 hatch before spawning pool. Interesting choice coming from that. I mean, it's such a risky play to go with, especially given the fact that you may more or less be assuming that your opponent's going for a Forge Fast Expand. But of course, the Overlord arrived here just in time to see that there is no Forge. And there's no shenanigans that are going to be happening in the near future, so let's not give that too much worry. So, Dosenfett has not scouted that third just yet, has he? No, he hasn't. That's actually pretty big. His opponent's going to have a significant economic lead. I don't know how 3-base Slowling fares against a 3-4 gate forward pressure, but of course, Zealots, provided that they don't get fully surrounded, can do fairly well against Zerglings. Alright, so both sides of the map just going into macro mode, but I think, you know, Dosenfett, the longer this third goes unscouted, the worse and worse off he's going to be, unless he goes for a straight up all-in here in the near future. Throwing down the second gas just now. I want to say this was an exceptionally risky, somewhat greedy play coming from Dosenfett, because he actually didn't get the first sentry out, and that really opens up an ample window of opportunity for your opponent to just stream a bunch of lings into your main or your natural. And if nothing else, just kill some probes, delay economy, maybe snipe a pylon or two here and there. But the Forge finally goes down. Interesting. I can't quite figure out what we have Dosenfett trying to do just yet. But qcZeRiaX moving out with the first 2 lings. He's going to go ahead and try and get a little bit of map control. I wouldn't say immediately scout for any pylons or all-ins or anything of that nature. But of course, anything's possible in this game. He's just going to inspect what's going on at his opponent's natural. And he's going to see the Forge is going to finish, but I think he's also going to have an ample window of opportunity to just slip in here with the lings. No probes being pulled to actually get in there and make a full wall of it. It looks like ling number 1 gets in and ling number 2 does, but they don't get into the main. That's when the sentry, the really, really late sentry, comes in and shuts them down. Alright, so he has thorough vision of what's going on in the natural, but of course what's going on in the main, nothing much. He actually doesn't have a Stargate thrown down just yet, or anything like that. I mean, that's typically the follow-up that you see with this kind of a forward pressure movement coming from Dosenfett, but honestly, He doesn't know about it just yet, but he's sending in an Overlord, trying to get some vision, trying to get a read. Of course, the biggest thing, the biggest threat I have about our Zerg right here is, like, I really feel that the most important places to scout are right here and right here. Because, of course, those are the hardest areas for an Overlord to reach, and they're more than likely where you're going to see a tech up. But as long as we're on the topic of architecture, a pylon is going down at about the 3 o'clock position, and that's going to make... Oh man, this isn't... I don't think that's all that great. I mean, he did just find out about that third base exceptionally late, he really did, but at the same time, his opponent's already gotten started on metabolic boost, and as long as he just does nothing but crank out army supply here, he's going to be good to go, he's going to be safe. But the first 3 zealots are now out and on the map. And our Zerg just now finds out what's up, and he's making 14 lings and 4 roaches. 1 for 1, a roach can... well, actually, 1 for 1, a zealot can take down a roach with no micro. But of course, with lings coming in there to tank for them, I just don't see it ending too well for our Protoss player here in the near future. But of course, slow lings are going to help out the zealots just a little bit more. The fact that they're not speed lings makes it a little bit worse. For some strange reason, they do less damage. But now that's a lot of zealots. We got 6 over here. And I think he's just camping out here. He's forcing his opponent to make units, but I don't know why Dosenfett isn't actually directly engaging his opponent just yet. Attacking on more gateways. Twilight Council, and of course the Robo facility going down. Twilight Council is indicative that a Protoss wants to expand and take a third, and of course he hasn't made a lot in the way of infrastructure just yet. Mass recall just goes down, and I really feel like, you know, I don't know what else could have been done there. I think the biggest problem that Dosenfett just suffered there was that he didn't scout his opponent's third. If he did scout his opponent's third, he would have immediately retaliated with some kind of forward pressure. But now, to this point in the game, he takes his own first blood with a pylon. Pylon number 1 and pylon number 2, and it looks like a probe got shut down somewhere out there. Yeah, just examining the units lost and everything of that nature, that's what it was. Overlord's coming in here. It's going to see that there is no... Oh boy, no really big tech ups in the main, but that doesn't mean there aren't any at the natural. Robo facility, I mean, Immortals, they can help out, yeah. But our Protoss, he's taking a super late third if he's actually taking a third whatsoever. And right now our Zerg is floating so much in the way of resources, especially given the fact that he's supply blocked. Observer's just going to camp right outside the natural. Second Overlord out, no third one on the way just yet, and speaking of third, I just think this is getting increasingly dangerous. And now, I mean, our Zerg player is thoroughly aware of just what's going on. With that being said, I think he's, you know, he may be tempted to try and start a third. He's trying to give this the tempo that he might be trying to start a third, and if he does try to start a third, his Zerg opponent can just safely start a fourth. But with the economic lead that he's had to this stage in the game, I want to say, and especially given the tech that we have, I want to say that our Zerg could just go ahead and, you know, ZeRiaX, he could just go ahead and start making a bunch of lings, making a bunch of army, and he would be comfy and good to go. But instead, right now, he's actually, he's actually making a Hydralisk Den because he wants to get some ranged DPS out, and that's what's really going to help out overall. Once you examine the army supply difference, it's starting to slowly narrow, but most of that is actually in production right now for our Zerg. So here we go. It's going to take a short window of opportunity. It's going to take a... not a short window of opportunity. It's going to be a brief window of opportunity for us to see some good old-fashioned Wings of Liberty style action. Yes, the 3 immortal timing, but of course there's no third immortal, and there's a warp prism here. Nothing in production from our Robo in the background just yet. The third base is going down while we have our Protoss applying forward pressure, and of course our Zerg has also been tripped. He's been alerted. He knows what's going on, and he can't really directly engage that army the way it is right now, especially with that huge ball. He's going to need Hydras ranging in the back, but even then, this is just such a difficult engage, especially with the Stalkers having their blink. The ones that are taking damage can just blink back, but a surround, a full-blown surround coming in from the back, and we have our Protoss pulling back. No, I want to say absolutely phenomenal damage incurred at the third of our Zerg, but for some strange reason, we do have our Protoss electing to go for +1 shields as opposed to +1 armor. I'm not entirely sure what that's all about. And as long as there's no robotics bay, we're not going to have, you know, it's just going to make it so much more difficult for our Protoss to directly engage this Zerg, because he's got so much in the way of light units, and anything that he's got in his army that actually gets a damage buff would actually be the Immortals, which get buffs against armored units. And I'm wondering just what this War Prism is doing. Mistakes from both sides of the map, but I mean, the question is who makes more of them? That is ultimately what decides who wins a game and who loses a game. Alright, so the third has been established for quite some time now for our Protoss. And our Zerg is actually moving in to shut down our Protoss for the time being. And I'm not thinking it's going to end right here, right now, of course, because neither player has a secure method of actually directly engaging the other. But what's nice about our Zerg is he's taking his fourth behind this absolutely safest play possible, I think, because he's forcing his opponent to stay at home. He's dividing his forces, trying to get us around, trying to just cause damage wherever he can. But this looks like a bit of not so pretty engage. But our Zerg pulls back just in time. He's good to go. Misclick there, sorry about that. And a few Lings trying to make a run by happen in the mineral line. Doesn't quite work out. That one cannon's gonna get shut down. It looks like, oh no, and a huge chunk of Roaches and Hydras come to the third as well, trying to shut it down, but it's not quite working out as they are forced to back out. 1 over 0 gets sniped. And the Lings trying to get some probe kills, and they get about 6 altogether to this stage in the game. With that, we see our Zerg pulling back with his tail tucked between his legs. A bunch of Infestors coming in to supersede and replace the Zerglings that he had before. Hive Tech just about to finish up, and the question is, where are we going to see things go from there? I'm more leaning towards saying it's going to be for +3/+3 upgrades. Wait. Interesting. Okay, I could have sworn for a minute I saw that canceled on my screen, the +3 upgrades. But behind this, he also established his 5th base. ZeRiaX is kind of, I think, in a bit of trouble right now. Yes, his opponent only has 1 Colossus, and as long as it's just that 1 Colossus, I feel he can directly and comfortably engage his opponent. And that 5th base has been scouted, so is this 4th. I don't see our Zerg holding on to this for too much longer. He's going to need just absolutely phenomenal multitasking skills to deal with that. But this looks like it could have a bit of a... Oh man, that was a mistake of a blink. And the Colossus is exposed. And now, for some strange reason, our Zerg is just absolutely falling apart. He actually... Oh, he forgot about the Infestors. He forgot about the Infestors, and it looks like now ZeRiaX is going to move in here and punish this move. Here we go. Nice fungal. That Colossus is just absolutely stuck in place. It'll be targeted down first. More stacked fungals coming down, but it looks like it's not quite going to be enough, as we do have an aggressive blink forward and another fungal growth going down. Not going to kill anything, but there are a bunch of static defenses here that might be able to finish off 1 or 2 Stalkers here. And it looks like one of them blinks back as it gets into red HP, but now the reinforcements have arrived. The cavalry has come to save the Spine Crawler wall. But no, there's 3 Immortals left over, and they're super tanky, and they're getting targeted down first because they don't blink. And it looks like all but one of them is annihilated. Wait, another one will fall. Yes, it will. And more Hydras are on the way. How is our Zerg still in this game? I don't quite understand. But behind this, our Protoss has already established a 4th base. There aren't any more Colossi quite on the way just yet. There's one actually that's idle over here. And it looks like our Stalkers are going to just eliminate the Spine Crawler wall and try and pave a safe road for the Colossi to come in with. Okay, so the backup plan for ZeRiaX, what does he do? He's got a lot of Hydras and he's got a lot of Lings. That's going to help out a lot for the Stalkers per se, but I mean, it's going to be difficult to engage on those Colossi really, because if they surround this entire death ball, if you will, all they're going to be able to really hit securely is, this is a bit of a a cute little expo, if you will. The only thing they're really going to be able to hit safely is going to be the Stalkers. I mean, the only guaranteed hits they're going to be are going to be the Stalkers. But wow, ulti misclick from Dosenfett. He threw away quite a few Stalkers there, and that kind of evens the playing field for the time being. And of course, ZeRiaX realizes, okay, I cannot directly engage into this. It looks like this 5th base could end up getting sniped. Yeah, he's gonna have to cancel that. I think he knows that. Unless he actually wanted to delay his opponent's expo by spreading creep there. It'd be expensive though. 300 minerals, excuse me. All right, Huge Ling run by, kind of fails, but a handful of Lings manage to get into the natural and burrow. That's going to force an observer out of our opponent, and it looks like it does in fact do that. Little creep does remain. I'm not sure if this was canceled or not. It doesn't quite have that tempo. But unfortunately, some Lings arrive too late to the party to help out, and of course they are at 0-2, which means 0 attack. Oh man, and a huge chunk of Hydras just got splashed on, if you will, by that by a handful of Colossus, excuse me, as well as the Stalkers that are there. And now the remaining Zealots are coming by here to conduct a run by, and I think this is basically the beginning of the end for our Zerg, unless he can just do something absolutely miraculous, like switching to a Swarmhost Corruptor static defense style. He's got a huge bank sitting right now. I'm not exactly sure what he's doing with it, but his main should be going dry really soon. We are past the 20-minute mark. The natural isn't too far behind either, and the third's not quite dry. It's got a good way to go. But of course, a few more Zealots are on their way here to pick off anything that's going to try and re-expo. And just as I say that, our Zerg is putting another hatchery there. Alright, so Colossi, ooh, coming back. No cancel over there at the 3 o'clock position base. That was just eesh. And now here we go. Dosenfett is going into the main with another Warp Prism. The question is, will he get a chance to use it this time around? Maybe. But those Zealots at the Zealots at the 4th base were actually just cleaned up, annihilated, destroyed, whatever have you. And a bunch of burrowed Zerglings right here doing whatever they can to pester our Protoss protagonist. And this is actually buying a little bit in the way of time for our Zerg to actually remax. He's getting Broodlords into the mix as well. That's something you don't see all that often anymore. And I mean, our Zerg is actually, you know, ZeRiaX, he's doing a damn good job of just, I don't know how to say it. It's like I don't use Broodlords anymore. Like what are Broodlords? I heard they were strong in Wings of Liberty. GG Lords is what they were called. But I mean, with one good engagement, he'll be able to destroy his opponent's 200 maxed army. And I'm liking this unit composition already. It's going to be Vipers, Broodlords, and Void Ray is also making their way into the mix as well. It might be better for our Zerg to prioritize grabbing the Void Rays, but of course he's at a lower army supply right now. He can't really directly engage, and another Warp Prism's going to be going into the main. Wondering what damage it will do, as it is already ready to warp stuff in, and that is a lot of Zealots going into the main. They're going to be able to basically do more than just take down these 2 queens. Rallied over here, they do charge, and at the same time we see an engagement going down here. And another one that basically yanks our Zerg players' attention away from the main battlefield, as well as what's going on in his main. The question is, how does he come back from this? Wow, nice fungals, really nice fungals. And it looks like all the Hydras are going to catch these out of position. It looks like that is a significant chunk of our Protoss' main army that's been caught out of position. But the Broodlords are so far behind that, oh no! The Infestors just got fed back to. There's no more airborne units for our Protoss, and that means he's forced to deal with these Broodlords as just Stalkers, and he's doing okay. He's cleaning it up, but it looks like, I think, ZeRiaX is not quite going to be able to handle himself. The storm goes down here a little bit late. Not entirely sure why. 2 Zealots are remaining, working away on that hive, and now we have, of course, our 3-base, basically starved to death Zerg player going up against our 4-base, somewhat economically developed Protoss player, and I don't see ZeRiaX coming back from this. I mean, there was a short window of opportunity, but I mean, he was forced to multitask, and that just didn't help. Oh boy, but here we go. ZeRiaX's last stand. How's it going to work out? The Viper's up in the sky, and he's not quite got the chance to do anything useful. Does get yoinked, does pull a single Colossus back, and he's gonna maybe try to take down the rest of the Stalker army, and he says, remember the swarm, because this isn't Texas. And there it is, the last remaining bit of army supply, now taken down. And ZeRiaX types out GG, just as a queen spawns to try and intercept this one Warp Prism that landed in the main. Ladies and gentlemen, if you guys liked what you saw here today, just go ahead and click on the subscribe button. This is Breaker. I'll see you guys next time.